What's up, guys? I am freezing my ass off out here, so I'm going to quickly introduce my guest. His name is John Tribe, and he spent almost 10 years in the U.S. military. He is an airborne Army Ranger. He spent a little bit of time in Iraq, and he worked with field artillery and other different units, as he'll get into more detail of. So on this podcast, we talk about what he did in Iraq. That's how we start out. And then we get into coming back home from Iraq afterward and why that's hard, why that was hard for him specifically, and kind of why that might be hard for others when they return from service in the military. And obviously, as you know from the title, John was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, which is not uncommon for soldiers returning home to deal with. And he ended up going through a whole bunch of different processes to try to deal with this, but eventually found his way to ayahuasca. And that is where I actually met John. I met John in Peru at the ayahuasca retreat that I attended. And, I really enjoyed his company then, and I really enjoyed talking to him here. We hadn't spoke between then and now. I mean, really, we had communicated a little bit, but this is the first time we actually sat down and talked to each other again. So this was a lot of fun. Big thanks to John. Thanks so much for coming and talking to me again. That's it. Check it out. This is me with John Tribe.
We're at an artillery unit, but in Iraq, there wasn't much of a need for artillery, especially because it's more in urban areas. So, shoot, I didn't want to ever shoot on someone's house. Ridiculous. So they made everybody patrol. Basically, 2007 to 09, all the artillery units in the 101st Airborne that were with us, we were all just regular infantrymen.
Okay.
So we'd go out every day for 6 to 8 hours and just talk to people and check on things.
So how big was your sort of unit that you were with, and what was what kind of missions were you sort of assigned? It sounds like you're doing a lot of talking and whatnot.
Yeah, it was basically to be there. Imagine like we're human bait. So we had a platoon in the Army is usually like 30 people, they say.
Okay.
We had like 20, and our job, they made us the colonel's driver. So we were his like personal security detail.
Okay.
Anytime he had to go out somewhere, we would drive him and protect him. But yeah, exactly. But yeah, most of our job was to just go out there and drive around and wait to get blown up. Or just wait for something to happen. It was ridiculous.
Damn.
Or just be out there.
So did you not do any combat whatsoever when you're over there then?
Well, we were in the combat zone, so technically we're in combat. It just wasn't the level that I had prepared myself for.
So you were prepared for something more than what actually happened over there.
Yeah, we were, yeah, a lot more. Like, just because I felt insulted where I'd spent a lot of time, I graduated Ranger School, which is an enormous, like it's one of the hardest schools the Army has, probably in the history of the world. And I did all this extra stuff. And so I felt I'm a professional soldier. I don't want to fight against peasants.
Right.
Bombs. Fighting against bombs is no fun because you can't.
Yeah. No shit.
Right. I mean, so my area was really, it wasn't very dangerous at all. It wasn't dangerous at all. So it bothered me because I was ready for danger. There are other people who weren't. And I was felt like being on the sidelines for me.
So then how did you come home and have, you say you had post-traumatic stress syndrome, right? Did you?
Yeah. The Army, the Army diagnosed me with that. And then not the Army, but the civilian doctors that work for the Army. So it's not even the Army anymore. And then, they give you a real treatment. Like that was the first, I don't know. I guess it would just depend on every single person. Maybe some of my soldiers who were there with me the first half of the deployment, because then I got moved to a new unit. Oh. It was a little bit more dangerous, but they may have thought it was real dangerous, and just because it was different mindset,
Right, I see.
So that was just my opinion. When I say it was super secure and not dangerous, I just felt that way.
But if you felt that way and you were prepared for danger, then why was it difficult coming back home afterward then?
Wow, dude, you went right to it, bro. So imagine everyone in America is reading about the war going on, and they see all this heroic stuff, happening, right?
Sure, yeah.
And then you come back and you feel like you haven't done any heroic stuff. You're seeing all these people are thanking you. Do you tell them, yo, I didn't do anything over there, and ruin the allure so that maybe they're not going to support anyone? Or it's so for me, it was tough for that because I went with the attitude I was going to win the Medal of Honor or die, right? And so then when it fell short of that, then I was looking around like, oh my God, I need to extend, stay here because I can't go back. Everyone sees me like, everyone sees what they think I am because of all the stuff on my uniform. And when I come back and I haven't fulfilled that or met that expectation.
So you kind of felt guilty or something for coming back without being like this super badass fucking killing machine or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, when I got moved the first time, my first half of my deployment, maybe 6 months of it, I was with the artillery unit, and then they moved me to the infantry unit, and they were actually the main effort for Iraq, that company. And that was more in a dangerous place where people were getting, that we're taking casualties, things like that.
Okay. So, I mean, you've seen shit go down. Like, you've seen people be killed and whatnot. Have you killed anyone?
I don't think, not directly, but
possibly.
probably. I hope not. I don't think so, but no.
Because you're shooting this, like you're talking about shooting this artillery. It's not this precise. You're not like shooting through a scope. You're taking out a house or something. Is that sort of what you mean? Like
or if I tell someone to shoot. Or if one of my soldiers is shooting and I don't know about it, and then I find out about it. I mean, I don't know. We'd maybe be getting real specific on whether or not I'm responsible or not.
I see. Yeah.
But I'm responsible for everything that my soldiers do or don't do. So
right. But for you, when you're talking about coming back and having challenges, it's not like the sort of classic idea that maybe someone like me has in my head of like post-traumatic stress, where you come home and you feel bad because you did kill someone or something like that.
No, that wasn't me at all. Like that, it's weird when I hear people talk about they want to go back over there and get some, and they have unfinished business. I never looked at it like that. I looked at it like playing football. I'm coming over there to shoot at you. You're going to shoot at me. If you're better than me, then good for you, but I'm fucking good. So so that's what I didn't look at it like they're my enemy. Like my second job while I was over there, that infantry company, they were snatching dudes up. And so we would snatch them up, and then it'd be my job to make sure they got back okay. And so, before I got there, we had a problem with a guy videotaping them taking it too far. So it's like I looked at it like a game of tag where, we're trying to get you, you're trying to get us. As soon as we get you, okay, now it stops because that's not what America does. And so that was where a lot of conflict came. I felt with the infantry company is there were a couple of dudes who didn't think that was the right thing to do. And they were actually shocked when I was like, if you ever bring anyone back here in the trunk again, I'm going to report your ass, because that's not what we fucking do.
Okay. So people sort of going beyond like protocol or procedure of like how to operate.
I can see exactly. I can see how they would do that. It's by taking it personally. So I never took it personally. You're trying to kill me because I'm there trying to kill you.
So you took it more of like a competition more than anything. Like let's try to be the best. But like when it seems silly if you're at war. But I guess you weren't at war with Iraq. You were there to fight like specific insurgents or whatever, like small groups within the country.
Yeah, if you break it down to a gang, imagine like a gang. Like I can specifically in the area I went to secondary was a place called Haria. And the way the gang or the insurgents were getting money is imagine like your neighborhood, like a whole city, they just come in and they move everybody out. And now they have all this real estate. And so they move people in and they're collecting rent on properties they didn't have to pay. And so that's where the problem came in because then some people who got moved in, they didn't know that these people had been forcibly removed from their house. Oh, okay. And that's how they were collecting all the money. And so, I didn't really look at it like you were trying to kill me.
It's a different thing. Like if you're at war, like true war with like a whole country, then it seems like all bets are off. It's just kind of like win at all costs, do whatever it takes. But if it's just with specific little groups, I don't know. Even then, if the if the mission is to win the battle, then it seems like maybe if you need to kidnap some motherfuckers and throw them in trunks and do whatever the hell you got to do, isn't that part of the game kind of thing? Like,
no, I mean, that's all like the Army has values, right? And there's probably some interpretation in there, but for me, it was pretty clear. You know, once we capture you, then we treat you like you're one of ours for the simple cost. Like, even though the enemy might not do that to us, we got to uphold that standard so that the whole world doesn't just evolve into anarchy type deal. But when I was there, it was more like we have our rules of engagement. Like you've heard about them hamstringing the troops. For me, it was all, I'm going to do whatever I want. And I mean, the day that I can talk about this, but the day that my platoon, this is a funny story. So we're doing our, we're making up our plans. Like they're called standard operating procedures, basically to make sure if something happens, like a vehicle gets blown up, I want to know everyone's going to do the same thing.
Right.
So
right.
Aim your guns in the same way. So I'm asking them questions because I'm new to the unit. So I realize we're brand new. We're right in country. I don't want to mess things up or change things because some of these guys are I don't want to make it confusing for them.
Right.
I don't want them to die. I don't want me to die. This was before I realized it wasn't that dangerous. But so we're going over the SOPs and so I'm asking them questions like a vehicle blows up. What do you guys do? And someone raised their hand and we do the mad minute. And I thought, what is the mad minute? Right? He'd been deployed before. So I want to know, what is this mad minute? And they say, okay, this is what the Ranger battalions do. When a car blows up or we get blown up, everyone points in the direction and we shoot for a minute. And I was like, what? Like, I was shocked. No, you didn't just say that. Like, come again? And then I looked at my platoon and I saw they were broken down into thirds. Like a third of them was looking at him like me, like, are you an idiot? And then the middle portion was like, I don't know what to do. And then the third was like, yeah, that's exactly what we do. And I was like, whoa, I'm like, listen, we're not doing that. If you do, I will shoot you myself, put you in jail. Like, I was dead serious. And then I told them, listen, we're not shooting any fucking kids. And if that means you get shot, then you're getting shot. Because we have body armor on. I'd done enough visualization where, I was a lot bigger than I am now, where I was pretty confident that if somebody was shooting at me, if you hit me, I'm not going down. Like, in my mind, I'm not going down. I may go down because that's never happened. But in my mind, I'm not going down. And I'm not worried about a kid hitting me, because kids aren't doing practice with weapons. They're not going to hold it correctly. He's going to miss. And I'm going to grab it up and slap him in the face. But I just know, I realized right then, like, my job is these guys got taken out of their timeline. And if I can't insert them back in 15 months or however long we're there, and they can't continue on in 20 years, and like, I failed. So I realized that they may shoot a kid and they may feel they're justified, but in 20 years, you're going to see that kid when you fall asleep every night. We're not doing that. And I'm not going to jail and being on CNN, right? Yeah. I'm like, I realize if we start killing kids, we're going to make enemies for life. If you kill my kid, I'm an enemy for the next 1,000 years. I'm going to raise my kids to hate you.
Right. So you saw that even then. You were pretty conscious of what you were doing while you were over there even. Yeah, that's where the problem comes, because I based my whole life on doing this phenomenal, being part of this something phenomenal, and then now I use the same standard. It was black or bad, good and bad, and then when I applied that same standard to myself, because I didn't want to be a hypocrite, and I realized, I'm a bad guy. What the fuck? So when you went to this other unit, did you come in as a leader?
Yeah, like, I keep my rank, so I was a lieutenant. And so a platoon leader is actually in charge of troops. They're going on missions that you would think of, guys going door to door. When I go to the artillery unit, I'm like a liaison to the artillery unit for if I support those troops. So if they needed artillery support, then I would call it in for them.
Okay.
But they made us the targeting officer. So so I was in charge of making all the matrix on like the bad guy lists, and then we go out and snatch them up. But the infantry guys were the ones, pulling security. I was doing my thing, and I was telling them where to go, and then they would go and snatch them up.
So how many guys are like you over there, where you're conscious of, not killing kids and not just shooting randomly if you don't see an enemy? Because that's what you mean, right? Is like, if they just shoot for a minute, they're going to just hit whatever the hell happens to be over there, and they don't know what that is.
Yeah, exactly. And the enemy is going to know that, and if I was the enemy,
Oh yeah.
I would exploit that.
Right.
And I would know you're going to kill all these civilians, and then these people are going to hate you.
Right.
I'd say at least a third. I mean, the middle of my platoon, the third of my platoon that didn't know what to do, they were very happy. I could see it in their faces when I was like, no. Like, because I'm a bad motherfucker, right? I'm an alpha male. Especially
yeah.
just got out of Ranger school. So no sergeant NCO is going to tell me what to do, especially when I know I'm morally justified. Like I'm right.
Right.
So that's that middle of the platoon. They came over, and now we were good. Even though there was some conflict with some of my NCOs over here, but that was just because they were scared.
Right.
But I don't blame them because it's a scary place. And
yeah. So how many people were kind of like that then, and were more rash and more like willing to just throw fire at whatever happened to be there?
Oh, not very many. You see them on TV because we prosecute them. So where like if you're an Army officer, I want you out. You do something wrong, you're out. And there's no like protection culture. It's like these are the rules. You're signing up. If you break them, you're going to jail. And so all the people that stole money or abused detainees, like that one guy that we found out he abused a detainee, he videotaped it. And then it was like a year later, his father-in-law sent that videotape in and he got prosecuted right there.
Oh, fuck.
So the Army, if we make a mistake, we're good at identifying it and fixing it immediately.
Because I mean, you can't just allow people to be doing whatever the hell they want, or it's going to bring, bad name to everyone involved, right?
Like I went over there with the idea that I represent the United States of America every time I engage with someone there. And so I better like mind my P's and Q's type deal.
Right. So, okay. So you were over there, you did that kind of stuff, and then you came back, and what did it look like when you came back? I mean, what was that switch like?
Oh, it was terrible. It was, cause you come back and one, you didn't really accomplish anything you went to, like I didn't accomplish anything I did over there. We did a lot of good things like building schools, but it was obvious. It was just terrible. It was terrible because at that point it was clear that whether the government lied or they were just giving bad intel, whatever happened, it was clear that was true. And so then all the crap I talked and all the basing my life on it was just falling apart.
So this was around that time when it was like that whole, like people were questioning this weapons of mass destruction kind of thing, like if they were over there or not, and like this kind of stuff was happening?
They had done questioning it, and it was pretty much, yeah.
Oh, okay. It was at the point where it's like, they're not there.
Yeah.
Fuck, what was I doing over there? Like, that kind of idea.
Exactly. Like that was, because let's see, Bush got out in 2008. So this was, I'm pretty sure the elections were over there when I was there. So that was when President Obama was coming in. So yeah, it was the changing of the guard was, it was.
I see.
Everyone knew where it was.
So that was part of it, was like you were over there, and it's not like you had anything like, and this is sort of random, but like post-traumatic stress too can refer to like someone, say like an artillery shell or something loud going off next to them and then having like physical repercussions long term, right? Like that can be considered PTSD too. Do you know?
Oh yeah. PTSD is just it's really just trauma. So if your parents like beat you up all the time, you're going to have trauma. You're going to have that. Like, you want to hear a funny story about this?
Or getting beat up when you're a kid or what?
No. This is a guy getting PTSD clearly from an event that was not how he thought it was. And I just thought of this the other day because my wife was asking me. But anyways, a little context. I'm over there. I realize, oh my God, if something happens, we're all going to die. And so I go home on leave. I come back, and now I come up with a training plan. And so before we go on a mission, we're all in our trucks. I would hand out 3x5 cards to certain people. It would say like, your femur's broken, you're unconscious, you're dead. So that way we do our SOPs, and we're going to simulate running into the trucks, grabbing them out, putting them on an 8 and litter, that time, and sending up a 9 line, which is like a phone call to the medevac helicopters. They're going to come pick them up.
Okay.
And so I tell my company, there's a radio operator at our company level, and I said, hey, we're going to actually call you. This is just pretend we're right out front, right? We're right out front. And this is just pretend. He's like, oh, cool. Because I'm like, you need practice too, because there's a tendency to put your least qualified person at the radio operator position. This will come into this will be huge in a minute. And so we're going through the training. Like, boom, they're calling it. They're getting the 9 line ready. They hand it to me. I look it over, check it out. I hand it to the platoon sergeant. He hands it to our gunner, who's going to send out the 9 line, and he sends it up. But what he hit the wrong frequency. So instead of calling the company, which the guy that was ready, he called up the battalion, and this kid froze, right? And it's okay if you panic. Panic is okay because I can deal with panic. You're at least doing something. I can channel that emotion. But if someone associates freezing and the military, no, he froze because he thought we really had 4 casualties. And I'm waiting, and I'm like, hey, have we got, as he said, are we good yet? And what I don't know is happening in the building right in front of us is they're starting to spin up an actual medevac because they actually think 4 of us are dead. Oh, fuck. Right? But no one bothers. Or they just, because it was such a safe area, anytime, this is when I knew I got to get the fuck out of here because these guys are trying to get like Medal of Honors out of our training. Anything that, so like the cool level-headed people in the, it's called the TOC or the Operations Center, who were saying, wait a minute, let's double check this. Can we call them back? Let's look at our GPS system and we can see where they're located. Or and eventually the Sergeant Major poked his head out of the door and saw us out there. Right. And I don't know any of this is going on. Then all of a sudden, all these high ranking guys are coming to talk to me because basically they spun up the medevac, which is a huge decision point. So basically every decision up to the colonels, which a high level decision to send a helicopter to rescue people.
Right.
All the checkpoints were just disregarded. And so somebody was going to get their ass chewed. And that's somebody, they were trying to pin it on me. I didn't realize this for like 2 or 3 years when I thought about it. And so they're asking me all these weird questions. It doesn't make any sense. And that's what they were trying to pin on me, but they couldn't because they had messed up. But that poor radio operator, they ended up moving him to the gym. And, I would talk to him over the next couple months. But yeah, he got out of the Army after that because he couldn't take it. And I was like,
oh, fuck. Just because he fucked up and he fell.
No, because he thought 4 people were really dead.
Oh, the radio operator on the other side who took
he
call.
thought that was real. Froze.
Oh, and just fuck. I see. So then you think he would be considered someone who has post-traumatic stress after that situation?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Even though I was like, bro, I would talk to him in the gym because I would make him spot me. And he was visibly shaking. I'm like, that it didn't happen. He's like, and it didn't matter. His brain was just
because he knew that he froze when it could have mattered. Like it might.
Oh no, he got scared because actual people were dead.
Right. Oh, I see.
So he froze from the event, from hearing about the, not even, and even though, he got all, he talked to the counselors and the chat and stuff, but it's still, he couldn't get that connection. It was weird.
Right. So, back to you now, coming back. Because I remember, like, we met when you got to the decision that you were going to take ayahuasca. Right. And that's how we met. And at that point, I remember you telling me, basically that you had like bags packed all over your house because you were just kind of like ready. You wanted to be ready to fucking go if something happened. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because when I was in Iraq, I saw a country collapse, and that was right before the 2008 financial disaster in America.
Oh yeah.
And so then I'm over in Iraq getting worried that I'm not going to be able to make it back if there's a worldwide financial disaster and there's no money to send us home. I'm like freaking out. So, because my family's there, they're vulnerable. But yeah, eventually as the time goes on, I'd have all my gear bags and magazines packed and just food and ready for Mad Max. I was ready for Mad Max, bro, which is crazy because it never dawned on me that who wants to live in a Mad Max scenario?
Yeah.
But I was ready. It's funny now, but yeah, I'm sure my wife thinks it'd probably be hilarious to get her take on it. But yeah, I was ready for war. Like people were going to invade. There's going to be terrorist cells everywhere in America. And then we were going to have to fucking block off our streets and house up together. And I was ready. I was like, damn, whoever lives next to me are the luckiest people on earth.
You're ready to go.
Yeah.
So is this mindset that the war was going to come back to America?
Yeah. Yeah. It was going to come. Yeah, exactly. Like this was like all the like we had screwed up in Iraq clearly. And now we either stay there and get cut to death with paper cuts, or we pull out. And if we pull out, well, then it's the same thing that's going to happen in Vietnam, except Vietnamese didn't really care about America, right? These Muslims, the ISIS, those guys really care about coming over here and killing us. So, yeah. Plus, because I was into Alex, this is when I got into somehow I got turned on to Alex Jones. And that was the worst mistake because he was saying all these things that were sort of true, and my brain would just fill in the rest. Oh my God, I went through a cycle of hell, and that's why I was gearing up. he's talking about the government's going to come and snatch us up and take us into camps. And I'm like, oh my God, what they have me taking to, I'm not taking people to camps, shit like that.
Right. Like Alex Jones, if anyone doesn't know, he has a radio show who talks about like basically like full conspiracy theory, any conspiracy theory out there, he's basically hitting, right? And a lot of like government type of stuff.
Yeah. Fear. He does the exact same thing the people he says is complaining about.
Right.
So that's where it came in when I was a soldier. I wasn't going to do things to make myself become the enemy. Like, what's the point of me going to fight over there if I have to stoop to their level?
Oh, I see.
So I wasn't going to do that.
Right. So even talking to you now though, like, and this is something I picked up, like, I was thinking in Peru when we met too, was like, you're talking about having PTSD and stuff, but like, you seem so happy and energetic and what, like, it's hard to picture you having like a real post-traumatic stress syndrome where you're actually not happy all the time. And like, you know what I mean?
Bro, we're talking a ton of work, like
Yeah.
a ton of work. Like, no, I was not happy. I'm happy now because I'm like, I no longer have to like hold myself up to try to be this hero, right? Thanks to ayahuasca. But yeah, the whole time, no, it was terrible where I lost like, I mean, you see me now, but I was like 40, 50 pounds of muscle heavier.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen pictures. You were a big guy, yeah.
Yeah, but once you realize that, for me, that was just it. I based my life on going over here to do these awesome things. And now it's like, what do I do now? I have nothing. So what's the point? And that's why.
It was hard. You didn't have a sort of clear direction when you came back as far as and you sort of, what's the word, like disillusioned, I guess, with the whole military structure and what, like the point of it. And like, if you had just been over there for no good cause kind of thing. And kind of, I guess you kind of felt lost, I guess, eh?
Yeah, and I had to admit that I'd been bamboozled. Right? I had to admit and that sucks because if you admit to people that they sold me a whole sack of stuff and I ate it hook, line, and sinker, but that means I don't know.
Right, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's like what does that say about you, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. How did I believe? How did you not believe that? And how did I do that? And what exactly? That's it.
Okay, so it means you came back. So when did you know then that like you were obviously it sort of came to a point where you ended up choosing to go to Peru to do ayahuasca, which I know was like crazy for you to do. You're not someone who has experience taking any psychedelics or anything like that. So for you that was like a huge decision to come to. But like what was the first sort of spark that you knew you needed some kind of help? And then did you go to like doctors or therapists or things like that?
Yeah. Here's a so once I admit, that it was not the just cause I thought it was, I go through, your life starts going downhill and you start, basically, like I went to counseling because I'd get to the point where I was like, I need some help because things are getting out of control. I can't handle any more stress. That's what it was. At that time, I had the work stress, and then I went to Army recruiting, which is terrible. A lot of really stressful, just because. And then like my son the doctors thought he had a brain tumor, right? And then there was a couple other events, and then I was just like, okay, I gotta go. And then that's what it was. The Army was going to draw down, and even though I knew there was 0% chance of me ever getting like cut, get a pink slip by they saying we got to let you go.
What does draw down mean?
It means when your contract is up, you're as an officer, then you're there until you have to ask permission to leave or they tell you to leave. And so they're going to look at people. And if you've failed like a physical fitness test or you have a DUI or any type of drug offense or any of those things in your past record, they're going to say, hey, thanks for your service. Here's a severance pay. And now you got to go in 8 months.
Oh, okay. They were
going to cut. Yeah, they were going to cut like 10,000 officers. And even though I knew it was 0% chance, I knew I wasn't going to get cut. I had to, it would be such a huge event. I had to make preparations. And so I put a lot of stress on my family because I was like, we got to cut the amount of money. I could be fired in 8 months, like freaking out. Like, what am I going to do now? I don't know how to do anything else. And so,
right. Okay. So just a ton of different stress coming at you at this time in your life.
Yeah. And then I went so I made an appointment because I realized I'm putting all this stress on my wife. So I make an appointment. I go into the counselor, and I'm thinking he's going to have to drag it out of me, right? I'm sitting there. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not talking to you. I'm just here because this is what the Army tells me I need to do, right?
Yeah.
And I sit down, and with it, he says, so tell me what's wrong. 3 seconds, I was bawling like a baby. God, what am I doing? And so at the end of the session, he's like, hey, listen, I'm booked up for the next 2 months. I want to put you with somebody else, or for the next 30 days. I want to get you with someone else on a weekly appointment. And then at 30 days, I'm going to start seeing you weekly. And I was like, no, because I'm not going to cry in front of anyone else. Like, no, I'll just wait. I'll wait 30 days. But imagine like the lid, all that shit I buried down, I couldn't put it down anymore.
Right.
And I was in Las Vegas for some training for a recruiting battalion there, or the recruiting company. And my stress meter was like at a 9 out of every day, right? So they would give me stuff to work on in counseling, but it would take me down to like an 8.8. And then like someone would cut me off and I'm already at a 9.5, right? And I'm just like, ugh. So I was always at a 9. And so I'm like, and I failed a test in the recruiting school just because I probably did it on purpose, because I was just out of my mind, mad, because everyone in recruiting just looks at me like I suck because we don't get that many people. Well, I graduated Ranger school, air assault school, every school the Army gives me, and now I suck. Like the first day I'm in recruiting, I got treated like a piece of shit because we weren't making mission, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. But so I failed the test. I went in to see the colonel. He said, you're gonna have to stay here over the weekend, and that was it. Like I'd already, like, being away from my kids was so stressful, so I'd been away from like 5 days, and I broke. That was it. I couldn't take it anymore. I sat down. I started shaking. I started crying. The guys around me were freaking out. Like they didn't know what to do. I was just, right? And then the craziest shit happened, which is they're all certified for like to deal with people in crisis. Right?
Yeah.
I think they were so in shock because of the way I looked. Like I look like a rock, but here I am crying. I'm breaking down. I have a nervous breakdown, basically. And then I get it together. Because I'm thinking, oh my God, they're going to go tell the chaplain, and now fuck, I'm going to get locked up. Like, here we go. This is my career. This is it. And, but they let me go, right? They let me go. And I ran out there like I was robbing the place, right? And I'm driving back to my hotel. I don't know what to do. I'm like, because I'm so embarrassed because I just cried in front of these men. Right?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know what to do. So I go back to my hotel room and I don't know what to do. I'm like, do I just go? Do I just leave and never come back? Or what? How can I face people tomorrow? But then luckily, 3 of my battle buddies, 3 of the captains that are that I work with every day, they did exactly what the Army trained them to do, right? One of them came in and I let him in for whatever reason. He could tell. I mean, I looked a mess, but I didn't look anyone in the eyes. And so one of them sat there. The other one called the colonel, who's our boss. And then the other one went and did something else. It was like textbook, because you're supposed to ask, then you comfort them, and then you escort them. And so then we went to the emergency room. Yeah.
So it all really climaxed at this point where you had too much stress. And once you, like you said, you talked to a counselor and you kind of were able to let some of it out. You couldn't just push it away anymore.
Yeah. I couldn't. Like, I let it out a little bit, and then they tell me my kid has a tumor, and then I'm watching him being hooked up to these machines, and I'm like, oh my God, if my kid dies, I'm not going to be able to handle this. And and then I went from the emergency room, right? I was so relieved. I was like, okay, finally someone's going to give me some help, because I'm horrible about asking for help, right?
Yeah.
So I was so relieved. So I just let it all out, right? I was honest. I just let it all out. And that was a horrible mistake, right? A horrible mistake. Because for a doctor to hear all that shit and then him to ask, are you suicidal? No, I'm good. I just needed a hug. Like, just give me some count. Yeah, he believed me, right? No, I told him everything from like when I was 0 to then. That was a terrible mistake, because the next thing I find myself is I'm giving an interview to this lady at this hospital, which is a nice waiting room. I'm like, oh my God, finally, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to talk to someone. They're going to give me a hug. And then I talk to her, tell her all this horrible shit about me, which is terrible. And like terrible telling another person. And then I go back, and everyone here is respectful. Like, the staff was super professional, but I go back and I'm hearing motherfuckers screaming like a nut house scream. And then I'm getting strip searched. And then I'm laying in a bed. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a fucking POW. But I can't kill any of these people because I'm in America and they're nice, right? I mean, they're treating me total respect. But it's like, so all the training I had in visualization, if I ever got captured, I was like, I can't use any of it. because I know if I escape, I'm going to be worse punishment. So now I'm stuck here. And as I read the material in Las Vegas, they have a law called 82K, which means they can keep you, or 72K, they can keep you for 72 hours. It doesn't matter who you are.
72?
The president,
Wow.
72 hours for observation if they think you're suicidal.
Oh, okay.
So I'm stuck in here with, if you've ever been to Las Vegas, you ever been there?
No, I haven't, no.
Oh my God, the crazy people who walk the streets. And that's who I was there with, right? And I'm freaking out because I'm not worried that they're going to kill me. I'm worried about if they come after me because they're crazy, I'm going to defend myself and no one's going to believe me. And so I got stuck in there for 82 and a half hours. Wow. And then that was horrible. So I was down for treatment. Whatever treatment was, I was down. Don't ever send me back to that fucking place ever again.
What was this place exactly? Like it's for people who are suicidal, so that could be all sorts of different people there.
Yeah, if you're suicidal or violent, coming off drugs, that's another thing I noticed is, I mean, the people with me weren't violent, right? They were the non-violent guys. The violent guys were separated by a door, and I was like, that door ain't gonna hold those crazy fools, right? But they were there for like coming down off drugs, and so I knew that, oh my God, I work for the U.S. government. I have gold-plated insurance. These guys have no insurance. They're going to keep me here. Like, imagine you win $1 million. Your family wants to steal it, and so they have you committed. Because, I mean, there was a dude there. I don't know. He may have been crazy, except we were talking military, so I don't think he was. His mom called from Pennsylvania to Las Vegas Police Department and said, my son's going to commit suicide. And they went up and snatched him. And he's like, I'm not committing suicide. And he's like, what are you talking about? And they snatched him up, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, you call someone in Las Vegas, they'll snatch you up and just hold you for 72 hours. They don't care.
Oh, fuck.
So it's terrible.
But I mean, what kind of like, were they trying to like counsel people there? Like, what kind of services were they offering people?
Well, it's great. Like, it's great if you're coming off drugs off the street, but no, it was strictly an observation to keep you somewhere safe so you don't hurt anyone. And I recognized that early because I went in to the first appointment I had with the doctor, and I was like, and he was asking me questions. I was actually, okay, I'm going to tell him the answers. And I just recognized early on, oh, this is bullshit. You're just checking the block to make sure this is bullshit. Get me out of here. And then I started, this is funny. So I'm mad. I actually read all the papers they give us, and that's where I know the law. And so there's complaint forms, and I go up to the desk and I'm like, I want form, and I quote it, and he looked at me. I'm like, the complaint form, give it to me. It says right here. I know I'm the only one here who can read. Give it to me, right? And I'm so angry at myself. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm going to show these guys. I'm a captain of the U.S. Army. And so he hands me a stack of papers, hands me some crayons, but I don't notice they're crayons, right? I go back to my room and I'm writing this complaint form, right? And then it dawns on me, I'm standing in a hospital gown, writing in crayon from the nut house. And I just crumbled them up. I'm like, oh God, I'm going to be here for a while.
Oh, fuck.
But I was talking to, I would talk to the people who worked there, they realized what was going down. Like, and that somebody had messed up because those Air Force guys, I told them too much. I can see where they would do it now, but people would come to visit me during non-visiting hours, and I would look at the staff and I'd be like, do people come here during non-visiting hours? And they'd like, no, that's never happened. I'm all, exactly, because I don't belong here, right? But I couldn't be angry.
So you didn't feel like you don't think you were actually suicidal? You think you were just under so much stress and needed to let it out somehow?
Bruh. Well, maybe. I was so embarrassed from crying, I may have like driven up Mexico. It crossed my mind to drive to like California and never be seen again because I was just so I totally would have done it. Like, I don't know if I would have done it, but it was crossing my mind because I was.
So it was there. I mean, that was a fairish assessment then.
Yeah, the amount of stuff I told him.
Yeah.
If I would have told him, hey, listen, I'm having a problem from whatever deployments or coming back, whatever it is, my kids, he would have been, okay, yeah, let's do something. But when I just let it all out,
right.
He was like, yeah, sure you're not. Uh-huh. Off you go, right?
Okay, I see. And
his job's on the line. So I could see where, since I told him so much, if I did do it, then he'd probably go to jail.
Right.
At least his license. Yeah, they would jack him up.
He's got to take the most conservative action.
Plus, I was at the emergency room and I was probably looked like death.
Right. So, okay. So then when you got out of there, what was the next steps that you took?
Then they flew me to Fort Lewis. And this is where the Army care kicked in, and it was tremendous. I went to this facility on Fort Lewis, Washington. It's right outside Seattle. And it's called 5 North. And that's where I learned everything I was doing for to try to treat my stress was wrong. And the professionals there actually, it was tremendous. I read like 8 books. I felt guilty because I was sitting there and I was getting paid, but not doing anything. And there were all these soldiers who, some of them I don't necessarily see eye to eye with, right? They're the kind of the problem childs that why I'm so stressed. And so I wanted to be a good example. So I read like 8 books while I think I was there 11 days, and they had classes and groups. It was tremendous.
Okay. So you had like you had workshops, you spoke to counselors, this kind of thing. And what did they tell you then? What was the right way to treat the PTSD then? Or,
Well, it was more like I got an awareness. So I realized where, they gave you ways to deal with your stress. That's where I was introduced to like meditation and like yoga.
Oh, okay.
Just I was presented with books on mental health that I didn't even realize there were mental health books. And then as you're reading them, I'm like, oh, it's just dawning on me, all the signs, the red flares that were just flying up everywhere, but nobody was doing anything, just because they were shocked because they were coming from me, I think.
Right. Okay. So you got to sort of self-analyze a little bit and sort of discover maybe why you were feeling this way and how to deal with it in a better way.
Yeah,
Okay.
much healthier way, right?
So you did this kind of stuff. You got into meditation a little bit and this sort of thing. But did you end up taking any other pills, or did you get prescribed anything like that?
That's where they were trying to get me to take the pills, and then I didn't do it, and so that's where I got like the initial part of PTSD. Like I realized, like they were like, "Oh yeah, you have it, right? You can't fake. Don't tell us you don't have it anymore. You have it, right?" And so then it did other things that they made. Like ended up. They put me in different programs when I came back, like with the mental health side of the military, where that were just automatically triggered. I didn't even have to ask for them. They're like, you're going to this group called cognitive behavioral therapy, and then I went to see my counselor every week after that.
Okay. So you did that for a while, and then how did it come that you in the end chose that you should do ayahuasca? Like, why was clearly those things didn't get you to the point you wanted to be at, right?
No, they did. That was in April. I actually went to 5 North on the night before April Fool's Day. And so that's just how I remember. I was there on April Fool's Day because I was like, yeah, of course I'm there on April Fool's Day, right? Of course, it makes sense. And so then as I'm going around, as I'm progressed through the cognitive, the group therapy, the best analogy is if you imagine a Coke bottle, when you shake it up and you open it, it explodes. Yeah. But if you shake that same Coke bottle up 100 times, then it's not going to explode anymore. And so so you write out your trauma statement, whatever that is, and then you have to read it every day. And so there's 16 people in the group, and at week 4, they know you're going to lose like 70% because it's too difficult. And so as you're going through this trauma, you're reliving your trauma over and over again. And then that's kind of where it went downhill more.
You think so it was hard? It was like not beneficial that you had to do that over and over because you had to go through it?
No, it was great at the end. Yeah, when you're in it, it sucked. Like there was a point, It's funny now, but there was a point in time before I'm committed to go do ayahuasca. I was like, I just told my counselor, I was like, look, this is it. I'm not doing, this is it. I'm going to do it. And he's like, well, when do you think you're going to do it? I'm like, well, it's going to be in about 6, because I got to write all these SOPs for my kids and give them all this information and shit. He's like, okay, yeah. And I got to get everything ready for my wife to hand her a packet, right? Because in my mind, it's just going to be this thing where I'm just going to leave, right? And so he knew that he knew like, okay, he's not really going to do it. Let's see where this plays out. And then as that played out, worse and worse. And then the Army job got worse and worse. And then I decided to go to Peru.
And so you heard about like ayahuasca. I mean, I think I remember you saying you heard about it through like the Joe Rogan Experience or something like that. Like I heard Aubrey Marcus talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Specifically, like when him and his stepdad, Steve Shubin, they shared like a moment. And I had never even conceived of being that emotionally open to someone before. And I thought, oh man, there's something wrong with me. I better go down there.
Okay, so you just kind of triggered something, and you felt like this might help me. This might be a good thing for me, even though you really had no experience in anything like that, right?
No, I'd never done anything. Like basically the stuff that was inside me that I was trying to not let it leak out onto my kids, it was leaking out onto my kids. And so I was like, either So I'm gonna do everything I can, and if that doesn't work, then I'll commit suicide. But right, so that's why it came down to like it was ayahuasca. I didn't know what I was gonna do after, but I was pretty confident in it.
Okay, so I mean, before going to ayahuasca, you had obviously been on sort of this sort of path for a little while of just trying to deal with the shit that you had going on in some way, and you've been working at it for a while. So it wasn't like you just, ayahuasca wasn't the first thing you did, kind of thing. Like you've been working at it.
Yeah, I'd been going to counseling since April, and done the group, and then just eating real clean. I mean, I was losing a lot of weight at this time because I wasn't able to work out. I wasn't sleeping a lot either because I would wake like a typical night. I'd pass out at like 8 o'clock, wake up at like midnight, and then sometimes go to sleep, wake up at 2, and then I'm just up. Until you do that. Like, it sounds weird. Like, how can you do that? I have no idea. Like, eventually you're going to pass out and sleep, but you just keep getting woken up. So it's not like I'd fall asleep and then like 2 hours later I'd wake up because I think someone is coming to like get my family and shit, like SWAT team coming to my house.
Right. So speaking of like not getting much sleep and losing a lot of weight, let's talk about fucking doing ayahuasca in Peru there. So, I mean, that's where we met. And it's kind of funny. This kind of just was pointed out the other day that it's actually like a 1 year kind of anniversary now, actually, that we were there. We were there last November.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, by Gent with 2 N's, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, So, when we did it, like I can describe it a little bit because I was there. We were there for like 8 days. It was led by a couple of shamans, one being an American guy and then some Peruvian people who've been working with ayahuasca for a really long time. And we took ayahuasca 4 different times. And the first night was probably your most memorable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because I listen when I tell people, like, I try to say it funny, like I almost died, like, because I really almost did. Like,
oh, yeah, man.
Yeah. I puked so much that I don't know. How do you want to set it up? What do you want me to say?
I can talk about it from my perspective. Like we were there with a really big group, right? So there were like, I don't know, 25 of us or something all there to do this. And everyone was nervous. Like not that many people.
You were nervous?
Oh, fuck yeah, of course. Everyone was nervous. Barely anyone had done, like a few people had done ayahuasca before, but a lot of people hadn't. And there was a bunch of people too who had no experience with anything. Like I've done like mushrooms and things. So I kind of knew half of what I was getting into. But then I just, did the whole ceremony. It's in the dark. You can't really see anyone. You can hear people puking and stuff. So you don't really know, you know the people beside you, what they're kind of going through. You can kind of get a vibe for that. But as far as the rest of the people, we didn't really know what each other were going through that night. But then it was the next day when, like, I got up, I don't know, people started stirring, getting up around 9 or 10 or something. And I kind of got up by 10, went to the sort of main area outside and was talking to some folks. And I was like, oh, how are you guys doing? I'm pretty tired, etc. And then someone just mentioned like, oh, John is still throwing up. Like, he's still puking now. I'm like, what do you mean now? Like, it's 10, like it's like 12 hours later. Like, what do you mean? And they're like, yeah, he's dry heaving. He's in really rough shape right now. And then like maybe 20 minutes later, I remember you coming out of your room onto like the sort of railing and just like heaving over the edge. I was like, holy fuck. And then like, I know that like everyone's just like hearts went out to you. Like we were just like, oh, I can't believe, everyone thought they had a rough night, but they were recovered by the morning. Like you were still going through it. It was pretty nuts. I mean, that's what I saw, but I don't really know exactly what was going on from your perspective.
It's so funny you say that because after I drink ayahuasca, like we drink the cup and it was horrible. Like, ugh. But I thought everybody in the room was just puking. When my eyes were closed, I heard the whole room puking, and then find out later that some people weren't. It was interesting. But yeah, as soon as I drink, like I'm sitting down and the puke starts coming, right? And I'm scared. I'm scared, bro, because I've never done any of this, right? I'm so scared out of my mind. Like for the only reason I'm down there is because it's less scary than what I think is going to happen if I continue going down the road in America, right? And so so I drink it and I'm sitting there and the puke passes me, which I thought was weird because I'm expecting to puke, because when I hear people puke, I'm expecting to too. So I'm ready. I'm ready, but it passed by. and I just start sweating, like dripping. It was I was just dripping wet, and solar flares are going off, bro. And that scared the shit out of me because I'd never done psychedelics before. And so I thought they were always lying. Like, they're not really seeing that. Like, when you see it, it doesn't really mean, no, it really was going on. I was like, oh my God, I can't open my eyes. I'm paralyzed here, right? I'm frozen. And so I'm breathing. And then I see a big road, right? Where and wait, can you edit this?
Nope.
Is it live?
No, it's not live. I can edit it.
Okay. You can edit? Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that you want me to like tell the story.
Yeah, I mean, go into as much detail as you want. And like, I will point out too that like I did listen to your podcast that you did where you go into like complete detail about every night and whatnot. And we don't have to go into that much detail, and people can definitely check that out if they want to hear your full tale. And you don't have to get into all of it, but like, especially that first night, like I do want to get
just because
into
I don't want to feel like I talk too much. I always catch myself like, oh my God, you're monologuing.
No.
Incredibles, right? I'm
no,
a bad
definitely not.
But no, like what I saw, basically my whole life, I've been training for a life or death situation. Mm-hmm. And then when I got over to Iraq, so my whole life, everyone told me, like anytime anyone told me that I couldn't do something, it just made me angry. And I used that fuel, that negative energy as fuel. And it fueled me right to graduate Ranger School going straight, right? Like it's fueled me right to the top. All the weight lifted, all the miles I ran. It was all, I hated all of it, but I just did it because I thought that's what you did, right? And so I see this beast, because basically when I was 12 years old, right, this terrible thing happened where my stepdad committed suicide, right? And since I was in this cult called the Mormons, all these people are crazy, right? And so they all lost their minds. Like my mom lost her shit, which is understandable, right? But what I didn't understand is my grandparents were like really pretty wealthy, right? Like one of my uncles is a 3-time Super Bowl winning coach, right? But I heard my mom say, like, I don't know what we're going to do. We might live on the street. And I'm like, oh my God, we're 12. I got a brother and sister. What are we going to do? Like, and then just like when I was treating PTSD, everything I did was wrong, right? But I just knew they were crazy. And so that negative energy just fueled me. And then I saw that beast. So basically when I was 12, I needed something to protect me. And so this is like hindsight 2020, but I probably asked, like, because I used to go around just yelling at God, right? Like, what the, just what? Is this what, like, just take me now. Like, God, like that type of
before. For sure.
And I realized, oh my God, I asked for help and he gave it to me. I didn't ask what type of help it was. Yeah. And it protected me because I never got beat up. And, I became one of the baddest dudes on the world, sort of. And, right. Almost. And so then I saw that beast, except it was inside of me and it was going to kill me. And then we just fought all night. And that's why I was puking, because the puke represented that thing beating me up. And it's weird, bro, because the second before that beast was going to kill me, that's the point where probably if I would have let it, I would have been enlightened, dude. Like you can kill me. Go ahead. I'll do some Jedi shit like Obi-Wan Kenobi when Darth Vader gets in. But instead, I was like, oh, you want to fight? Let's fucking get this on. Like, right, I'm ready for this, right? And I was like, oh, that was my chance. But I totally, right?
So you feel like through that first, like you were battling a part of yourself, like something in you, and you didn't want to give in. And you kind of feel like if you had just accepted it in a way, it would have been over quicker. or
I don't know. Like at the moment, no, there was no way I was going to surrender. I was there to death, right? This is like years of analyzing later, but then I was there to die. Like, that's why during the night when I'm just puking, I can't take it anymore. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm just going to lay down and die. Right. And then Mother Ayahuasca, the whole time she's giving me like, she's like, come on, encouragement. She's like, come on, you can do this. You could do this. Another time she would yell at me like, get up, pussy. And then, she's yelling. And then I'm like, look, I'm sick of this shit, right? I'm tired. Like, this thing's beat me up. Whatever. You're telling me this, just calm down. Let me just get some sleep, right? Let me get some sleep. And she's like, no, this is going to happen now. And she's like, it's going to get worse. And I was like, no, getting worse? What are you talking about? I'm ready to die, right? I don't give a fuck anymore. And then my kids went across my face. I was like, oh no, she's going to show me them dying. Like, no, I puke them out. And so it was basically the analogy I would use is my whole life training for those moments where I like me and a person are going to fight to the death. There were certain points in my life, but I just didn't do it. Like I did an MMA fight, but when I had the guy in an arm bar and I could hear his arm popping, I'm looking at the ref. I'm looking at him like, dude, we're just pretending like to prove we're not wusses, right? We're just doing this. Like I have to go to a job. If I break this, you're going to the hospital. And he called my bluff. It blew my mind. Like, why aren't you tapping? Like who breaks their arm? Like you're going to really let me break your arm, but I didn't break it.
When was this? You actually fought?
Yeah, in 1999, I did
oh, really? Well,
way back in the day. And so, because at first, when I was going for that life or death struggle, I got into MMA. But when I did that fight, he called my bluff because I really didn't want to hurt anybody.
Right.
Like, I thought I did, but really, I just wanted to hurt myself, right? Sort of. Like I wanted to suffer. That's what I wanted to suffer. That's why I went to Ranger School and all that. But
I've heard you say, I think this was on maybe that podcast you did about taking ayahuasca, where you were talking about suffering and how in your mind suffering was easy. Like you could suffer all day, you could fucking take it, you could take whatever was coming. It was like I don't know how you put it, but like it was like being happy and like loving yourself was the hard part.
That's hard as hell, bro. Like, put me like sure. My mindset all growing up was specifically gearing up to go to war. When I read all those books, the worse the conditions, the better American troops are going to do because we're the best in the world, right? And so I wanted the conditions to be horrible because I'll survive. Like the good analogies of a football team, the bad weather, it doesn't help a good team. Like a turf team that's fast is going to be slow, so that worst team isn't going to get any worse. It's the best team's going to come down to their level.
Oh yeah, right.
So yeah.
So back to this, when you're talking about like fighting this beast, was it like a visualized thing? Like when you said it, I'm like picturing some crazy hairy monster dragon fucking beast thing. Is that like accurate or what?
Yeah. In fact, bro, like I just bought this book by Ram Dass. And as I'm turning the pages, there's this, I'm pretty sure it's Kali, this like crazy looking Indian god that's mouth and coming at you with swords and shit. But what it does is it cuts all the impurities out of you, right? And I didn't know this at the time, but I just saw the picture of the other day and I'm like, that kind of looks like that. But we were in the Matrix. Like I was punching him. That thing was punching me and we were stabbing each other. Like, yeah, we were really fighting. Like I was in the Matrix. Yeah, it was all out war. Like it was war, but sort of my body wasn't throwing punches or anything, but in my mind, everything was happening.
Fuck, and that you're visualizing this stuff. Cause I mean, to just emphasize again, like we drank ayahuasca at like 10 p.m. or something like that. And then like 10 a.m. the next day, you're still going through this shit. And are you like visualizing that stuff even then in the morning?
No, that night, right before Mother Ayahuasca said, you better get this out or it's going to get worse. I puked part of him out. And then I was like, oh, now I'm going to win. So now I start puking him out and more of him's coming out. And then it gets to a point where I can't get any more of him out. I'm like, I'm ready to go to sleep. So Mother Ayahuasca's telling me, do it. This guy's beat me up. And I'm like in the middle telling them both of them just calm down. I'm going to pass out. And then I keep the rest of him out. And then, so the next day I wasn't seeing those visuals. I just knew I fought to the death. You're taking damage. That's what the damage I took. Puking that thing out, it like disrupted the insides of my stomachs and stuff.
Right, because yeah, I mean, you mentioned that like there was a guy there. Maybe I don't know if we should name him or not. Maybe not. I don't know. But
no, Terry.
Yeah, and so he knew his shit. And so he came in like, and maybe you clarify too. Like, so what did the people running the place do in the morning? Because I don't really remember seeing exactly. Like I know they came into your room, and did they bring you like an IV? Did they have an IV or?
No, they brought me some. She brought me some soup, and then some special. It must be like part of their culture where they make to try to heal you, sort of like chicken soup type deal.
Okay.
And then I ended up getting Pedialyte, but no, that. So after the ceremony, when we wake up in the morning, they canceled the ceremony that night. But so they came in my room that night, and the shamans were doing their Icaros, and the females came in. That was the craziest part, is because they kicked my roommate out, closed all the windows, put a guard at the door, and then we're doing it was just the female stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this is getting serious. And then the main shaman, not Don.
Robert?
Yeah, Don Robert. He came in and was doing his stuff. And then with both of them coming in and me together, it was like, if you imagine like when you're real young, like when I was 6, probably 5 or 6, I got handed like this, or given, who knows, like a black seed of darkness, right? And that was what that beast was in me, where my whole life, anytime I came to a decision point, it was that thing always provided me comfort. It made me go the route to keep me safe. And so that's like, I saw all that, and this was the last part of it, and I just couldn't get it out. And that's what was causing me to puke, I thought. And then that night they helped me get it out.
Right. And so when Terry came in, it seems like he was able to do something physically to like allow, like, I don't know, you can describe it, some kind of like flow, something to move that was blocked, right?
Yeah, if you imagine like your stomach, and then you got your throat and your mouth as one exit point, and then to your lower intestines is the second exit point. So the bottom exit point was clogged. That's what I got in a vision, that those shamans were in there, and the valve shut. And so when Terry came in, he did an evaluation as like if I was in his office, like he evaluated me, and he's like, hey, listen, he's like, because you puked so much, something he said, I can't remember what he said, but something short circuited. He's pointing to stuff. He's like, do you feel this? And he pointed right to the place on my stomach where the valve is. I'm like, oh my God. Of course he knows where it is because he's a doctor, right? But I was shocked. Like I knew where it was. And so he's like, I'm going to adjust you. And he adjusted me. And then he did some acupuncture, and it was just like, and then I just felt my stomach, just the air just go into my lower intestines. And I was like, oh my God, you saved me, bro.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if he wasn't, that was like, if I wasn't better, like that was the third day. So if I wasn't better that day when we did the talking circle, I was rolling out. Like I didn't know how I was going to get out, but I was like, we got to get out of here because I'm going to just
That was the third day. So he didn't come in that next morning. He came in like the day after or something?
Yeah. So this next day we did the shamans came in and did their one-on-one with me. And then when I woke up the next morning, I had that vision in that during the night. And then he came in the morning and gave me like a laser for my wrist to put on the wrist to help with the nausea.
Okay. So then, yeah, because I think you didn't do the second ceremony, right? You skipped that one or whatever.
Skipped that, right?
But then you did drink ayahuasca again on the third night, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we did the third one. That one wasn't, I really didn't feel anything. I didn't even puke. It was, I got a good lesson, which is, why don't you just forgive yourself and then you don't have to suffer anymore type deal. And I didn't even puke. It was more like watching it on a big screen, like you're at a drive-in movie. And so nothing really significant happened. I just realized, I'll just forgive myself. What do I need to, because that was my intention. My intention was to forgive myself. And basically the plant, Mother Ayahuasca, was like, hey, you don't need to come down here. You could just done that yourself. Right? Wow, I should have just done that myself.
Easier said than done, though, in some ways.
Oh, yeah. It's tough. Even today, right? Even today. Like I try to put on a happy attitude. I'm happy most of the time, but one of the reasons is the biggest stressor in my life, the military, is I'm out because I'm retired now.
Right. You're officially out.
I know, right?
That's awesome. Yeah, it's got to feel good to at least put that part behind you.
Yeah. Part of it sucks. I mean, it sucks because it's one of those things that even though, it's all that bad stuff too, but it's so much good, right? It's so much good.
And you can tell, like, from the way you describe it too, is like, it's not like it's all bad. And I'm sure it's not. Like, I'm sure it must be, it sounds like, from my perspective, one of the coolest things just seems like that brotherhood that you get with these people that you're there with. You really create some bonds that it's hard to really know people, like, to really know people, like, but when you're in that kind of situation, these high stress scenarios, you're going to get to know people really well and create bonds. Like that was one thing, even at the ayahuasca thing, I really liked having that big group and going through this sort of ordeal together. You really get to know folks, and it was pretty cool that way.
Yeah, that was key. When you go through something horrible too with people, you all have that common bond.
Yeah.
So like that's why the Ranger tab, for me, I just got it because I wanted to be the best I could be. But it's huge in the military to bridge that gap of unknown. So where I'm coming to an infantry company, they don't know me, but now we've had this shared experience. So it's like every time I see you, bro, I'm just going to smile because we're going to instantly think back to the time in Peru. Right. And we're going to be like, oh yeah.
Right. So even though like you come back from the war with like PTSD and all this stress and all this stuff, it's not like you only look back on it as all negative and all bullshit. Like you you probably take some pride in some of the experiences you had too, and all the skills that you've learned and all that stuff.
Yeah, we sort of I was different though, man, because I was at war for personal reasons, and that was because that was going to be a way to like make my life have meaning, right? To be doing this. And so I didn't create any really close bonds with anyone in my platoon at all, or even in the officers, because I was there to work. Like I was there to go to war. I wasn't there to socialize. I wasn't there to do anything. Everything in my day was geared towards fighting. So I'd go to the gym before patrol, then we'd come home and I'd do some cardio and I'd eat right, and then I'd play video games. I wasn't out interacting with people, especially because I didn't want to cross the line of, in the military, it's called fraternization, hanging out with your troops.
Okay.
So I have a few close friends, but they're of the same rank as me. As far as like the stories you hear about the brotherhood and like,
yeah.
I didn't experience that because I don't know if it may have happened. I just didn't see it because I didn't think it was a great enough event. Although if I would have gotten a 10-hour gun battle, I probably would have the same attitude.
Right.
It's enough because there's going to be dudes like Tim Kennedy who are 10-hour kids. They do that every day, you know?
Tim Kennedy, the fighter, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That dude, damn.
He was a Ranger too, right?
Oh yeah. He got a Ranger tab. He was more special forces.
Okay.
He's a stud. Yeah, that dude.
Oh, for sure. He's huge too.
I know, right? And he still fight, and he's still in the military. So it's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, getting back to let's go talk about ayahuasca a little bit more. Like, say if someone's listening to this now and they're maybe suffering from some kind of stress too, whether it's like post-traumatic stress from, the military stuff too, or maybe it's someone who just has other issues. Like, for someone like you with no experience prior with like psychedelics or this kind of thing, what do you recommend? Do you recommend people should go do ayahuasca if they feel called to it, or should they start with maybe like counseling or something?
Smoke some weed first,
Yes,
bro.
yeah.
Smoke some weed before you go do that, and like eat a huge pot brownie.
Yeah. I would recommend that too. Yeah, don't go straight to ayahuasca.
But yeah, if you need something, like I needed something dramatic, so I like the stuff Aubrey Marcus was talking about. With specifically, it was like I remember a podcast he did where he took someone there, and the impression I got from that person is they had heard Aubrey Marcus's like phenomenal experience, and they were looking for that thing because they drank a bunch of cups of ayahuasca and they didn't get anything. And so I recognized that, and so I was just down there for whatever experience. I wasn't necessarily looking for like super crazy visuals you hear. I was just there because it was like that. I probably would have committed suicide. Who knows, dude? I don't know. But yeah, definitely smoke weed first. But it's great. If you need, I'm not telling people to do it, but I need something dramatic, and it doesn't get any more dramatic than that in my world.
Yeah. And that's why I think these things can be so helpful, is because they're so like dramatic, as you put it. Like you can go to counseling for a really long time, and gradually over time, you'll talk about issues and slowly break down the core stuff. But for some people, I think it is just more better, like to have at least one experience like this with something like either the mushrooms or maybe MDMA or whatever, ayahuasca, and then maybe keep doing counseling. But to have this dramatic event that you can really see like the potential of how you can think, or, to get this other perspective in your mind first, to know that you can get to this level,
exactly, bro. Like, the thing that I took from it is, from listening to everybody's story, is the plant gave you exactly what you need. Like, there was no BS. It just went straight for it. And that's exactly what happened to me. Like, even during counseling afterwards, I got to the point where I'd been listening to this dude, Ram Dass, for a while. And he talked about roles, how people play roles. So you have a doctor, and in order for him to fulfill his role, he needs patience. And so then I would have to feel like a patient. And then one day in counseling, I saw my doctor. I got him out of his doctor role because I was getting pissed because I thought at this point, this was probably like 4 or 5 months ago, counseling was getting worthless. Like I've used it up, because one thing I do is if I see someone that has something that's useful for me, I'm going to take all of it immediately. Like I'll just implement it immediately and just keep doing it. And then I'm going to move on. And so one day I was sitting there and talking to him, And I got him to laugh, but he didn't laugh as Dr. Lewis. He laughed as himself, as if we were having beers. And I was like, I saw you, motherfucker. It just happened like that. It just happened like that. Exactly how Ram Dass talked about when you get out of the role. But he quickly, like within a millisecond, was like, oh, he caught himself and got back to talk. But I was like, I saw you. And then that was it. That was my clue. Hey, counseling's done for me. It's time to move on to something else.
Yeah, that is interesting. That's something definitely like some of these psychedelics can do too, is highlight these different roles and things. And that we buy into all this shit. Like we become whatever it is. We become the father because we have children, or we become, the doctor or the teacher or whatever it is. And we act like what we think we should act like, instead of just being ourselves more naturally. And these seem to be able to help a little bit. But I mean, for me too, I think we talked about this a little bit before, is that like, it hasn't, like ayahuasca, I was there not, I didn't go with like, probably as much stress and stuff to deal with. I had things to deal with. And it hasn't been a magic cure. It hasn't just cured everything. I still have to work every day at certain things to get better and better and better. And it's been a good point, to shift me in that direction, but it's not something that's just going to fix everything either. And I want to know, from you, how has your life been since then? In that year, it's been exactly a year now. So,
oh yeah, it's been like up and down, but it's never gotten to like, well, maybe it has a couple times, but it's never gotten like way crazy like we were before. Like, so now there's like, we put in safeguards almost where I would be able to recognize, like when you're meditating, your mind wanders off. You recognize, you come back to the breath. That's kind of what it is now.
I see, yeah.
So that's what I started doing too. There's this app called Headspace that I heard on the Joe Rogan Experience. Yeah. Oh, it's great. And so I use it, every day. I think I have done like 24 hours of meditating by now. I think like 100 sessions, something like that.
Okay. Is that something that you implemented just after ayahuasca? Or?
Yeah, especially because it was really getting a point of view from all of you guys. Like I didn't have any friends who were world travelers, right? I never had any friends who went to Thailand and did a Muay Thai fight. Are you crazy? Like what? And so I took bits and pieces from everybody. Like that's what I do is I look at someone and I immediately like I look for not like your strengths and weaknesses. I do that, but not to exploit them, to see what you do that could be helpful for me. And then I take that.
For sure, yeah. That's a good try. I mean, I think a lot of people do. Like I do that for sure. If I see someone doing something, I'm like, oh fuck, I could do that, and then I could be better, and I could be kicking ass, or I could be, be happier or whatever. Like for sure. That's why I like all these. I'm a big podcast listener too, because you get to hear people on a real in-depth level, and you get to see where they're coming from, and you learn about like little habits they have and little things they do. Like I really like Tim Ferriss's podcast. That's kind of what he does, is breaks down successful people and tries to analyze, how do they start their day? What do they do in the morning? What are they meditating, or are they working out in the morning? Like what kind of things can you draw from people to really improve your life? Yeah.
That's it, dude. Yeah. Cause it blew my mind that I was around so many people that just traveled freely outside of their house, like to different countries, and weren't afraid about getting kidnapped and shit, Damn, maybe something's wrong with me, right? Because in my world, everyone thought like me, and now I see like these 20 people. I'm like, damn, maybe it is okay to just go around. Maybe it's not as bad as I think it is.
Right.
And so that helped too change my perspective, because where I was focused on like the Alex Joneses of the world, the negative, the fear, I'll just move away. And that's where like a guy like Ram Dass, when I found him, blew my mind. When I heard, because coming from Utah where the Mormons run everything, right? So imagine my whole life listening to these crazy people tell me how they're waiting for Jesus to come back. And then I find this dude, Ram Dass, who's like the closest thing I could find. And he'll let you ask him questions. I wanted to run in the street like, he's over here. What are you doing? And so just listening to him and using his example and just having someone so open, like to tell you all the horrible stuff in their life so you can learn from it.
Right.
Like, damn. So that's what I try to do now.
So, I mean, do you think now, like, do you ever have the urge, like, you want to go back and do ayahuasca or do something else, do like peyote, or go do wachuma that they do there? Or?
Yeah, bro. Like when I came back, before I found Ram Dass, I was trying to, how am I going to deal with this? I just had this experience that blew my mind. Now it's like, am I supposed to go get enlightened? Like, am I supposed to go do this shit all the time and leave my kids? Like, what's supposed to happen here? How can I leave? I can't be like Aubrey Marcus and raise my kids, right?
Yeah.
And so then I found Ram Dass, and I'm like, oh, I don't need to go do all that. We're good.
Right. That's like that integration stuff people always talk about with these psychedelics. It's like, how do you take this experience that you have and then put it into your day-to-day life, put it into your, back home, being back in Utah or whatever.
Yeah, especially because my wife is never going to do that, right? Like, she was supportive. Like, she's all, yeah, okay, but don't try to bring me down there, right?
Yeah.
And so when I came back, I'm like, you got to go do this. Like, what are you waiting for? This is so crazy. Like, are you serious? This is like, the world doesn't matter anymore. But then it's like, then I found a book by Jack Kornfield. It's After the Ecstasy Comes the Laundry. Like, yeah, you just saw enlightenment, but you still got to do laundry and do the garbage. Right. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a drag, but
yeah, it is kind of a drag. I remember you talking about that too. Like, maybe we kept in touch like ever since then. I remember you talking about how you got home and you just felt like you wanted to tell everyone they should go do this. And like this, it's hard to just see people around you, see people you love or care about, and see that they're struggling with whatever they're struggling with, and not being like, dude, you got to go fucking do ayahuasca. It's going to save you. It's, or whatever, like trying to steer everyone in the same direction. Because you do kind of feel that. I feel that too sometimes, where it's like, I feel like I have kind of an answer. It's not the answer. It's not going to cure everyone, but it's like, damn, like more people need to realize this is out there.
Yeah, like, bro, I would tell people in my family, right? I would tell them, and then I would wait, right? And they would just go like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, that's cool. No one wants to go. Like, no one, no questions, like no questions, no follow on. It was just like, And I was just like, you realize I just talked to what could be like the closest thing to the one that you can get to, right?
Yeah,
like
right.
The closest thing. And they're like, no one's interested. Nobody. It was hard. I was like, wow, did I do it wrong? Did I tell the story wrong? I was like, maybe I'm telling it wrong.
No, it's crazy. Like, I think a lot of, like, depending on who you're talking to, if it's someone, like, I know I have a lot of people in my family or in my life who are definitely not into any of this shit. And so I'll tell them, and they'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, whoa, that's interesting. And it's hard. People don't have context for it. Or they don't know how to think about it or how to put it into their lives in a way that makes sense to them. So I don't know. That's why, I'm trying to do this podcast for some of those reasons, just to like put it out there so that if people do become interested, they can kind of hear about this stuff and maybe, dip their feet in it, or at least get informed about some of this stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly it, bro. Like, that's why, like, when at my third ceremony, like me and ayahuasca, me and Mother Ayahuasca, I don't know if it was a deal, but I'm pretty sure I just signed it without reading the fine print, right? Where she showed me my future, and then it was like, well, yeah, but now I understood it as, if someone asks, then you gotta tell your story type deal. So that's why when I told my family, I was like, what? I don't want to tell everybody these horrible, like, I don't want to tell this story. I would just rather go off and live in my house by myself. And then nobody's doing it. I'm like, wow. Even my military friends, when I told them, they were like, and they have the same thing as me. They're experiencing the same thing. But yeah, no. It's so weird.
Do you know a lot of other people from the military that are like suffering in that way, that have that sort of high stress coming back and not being able to deal in the right way?
Yeah, all of them. Because there's always like one other person that you're holding the standard to. So there's always that Tim Kennedy who you're never going to achieve. Just because it doesn't even matter if I'm able physically, it doesn't even matter. I will never be in a position, even as much as I did when I was in my career. It's just, you're not even in a position to do anything like that. And that's what the biggest thing to me was, when you get over there and you're ready to just go out and do good. And they're like, no. You get a mission and you got to get clearances. I'm like, red tape? What? Like,
right.
Those people need help right there. I can go help them. Like, no, that's not how it works. So yeah, there's tons of them. But a lot of them are on pills. You'll hear.
Right.
It's the pills and the alcohol. And if you don't want to, for me anyways, it was, do I want to apply the good and bad standard with no gray area to myself? And I did. And then I was bad. So I had to make myself suffer. And so now I'm more in the gray area, which is a lot more healthy.
Right. No, I do know that a lot of people do turn to alcohol if they don't get prescribed a certain pill or whatever. I know that alcohol, like I know people personally here who are veterans who've been back and they drink all, like they're alcoholics. Like it's just, that's what they turn to. That's what seems to help. But it's definitely not a long-term solution. It's not sustainable. It's going to break your body down. It's not going to, I mean, I have mixed feelings on alcohol because I don't like painting alcohol as like this demon fucking poison to you. Like alcohol can be good too, but a lot of people are turning to that because that's sort of that. I mean, it's the legal drug we have, right? So a lot of people are using it.
Yeah, it's a weak medicine, bro. Like, I think the only reason I didn't do it is because of all the negative side effects, right? Or else I would have totally done it. But it's like I can't work out as much as I did and drink all that liquor. Yeah, but the way I see it is, bro, it's like it's a weak plant. Like the way I view, and the reason the military guys can't do it is because like cannabis is illegal. If you could use cannabis, they would all use cannabis, right? Because just drink or smoke it or whatever, eat it at night, vape it, whatever you do, and then you wake up with no hangover. Like there are dudes in the army right now, they show up, drunk to work. It is sad.
Really?
Because then what do you do? Do you turn them in? I mean, they're not drinking. They're drinking because of this experience they had. So do you turn them in and then they get fired and then their life gets ruined and becomes even worse? Or like,
right.
It's a tough deal. But yeah, cannabis is where it's at. Because the way I see it is, like it's a plant. It's strong and it allows you to place your burden on it. So if you place your burden on alcohol, it's going to take the burden, but you're going to get jacked up. Whereas cannabis can take that burden from me, and then it's like, oh my God, like just for a little while, right? Just for a little while, or it makes me sleep. Like for me, it's no dreaming. Like I don't ever want to dream ever again. And so as long as I take it, that's why I moved to Colorado, because I never want to dream again. Like I never want to have a dream ever again.
Really?
So that's what it works good for me.
Yeah, I know it does do that. Like I've experienced that with marijuana. Like either in the past when I've smoked it a lot, I would stop dreaming, and then if I would quit, then I would stop for a while. All of a sudden, I'd get these crazy vivid dreams would come back, and or even like the other way. If I hadn't smoked in a long time, and when I did, it would affect maybe I would dream again, or maybe I'd remember it more. Just it definitely seems to affect that. Why don't you want to dream anymore?
Nightmares, bro.
You still?
That's one of like, oh yeah, like people are trying to all my dreams. Like my body doesn't. It's like my brain doesn't shut off. So I wake up and I'm exhausted because people are trying to kill me. Except I can't pull that trigger in the dream. I'm like, I'll squeeze down the trigger, but nothing happens. Or I'll try to punch them and nothing. And so yeah. Once I found out that with cannabis, you're gonna sleep 8 hours. I'm like, never dreaming again. Like I'm never gonna dream.
When did you even start smoking pot? Was that before ayahuasca or after?
Oh, after.
It was after.
Once I got out of the military, yeah. I got out of the military August 17th. I out-processed Fort Carson, Colorado, and then that was on right there.
All right, so you moved to Colorado. I didn't even know that you moved. That's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, because I'm not gonna do anything to go to jail, right? I'm not. I mean, I went to the shittiest place on earth. Like I've been to college, done everything right in my life to avoid those people.
Yeah.
And they're smacking my face, right? I'm living with them. So no, I'm not going to jail. I'll just move.
Okay, so you're smoking legal weed in Colorado now.
Yeah. So I think within the next 5 years, maybe in Utah, and then I'll move back. But
clearly though, like you're talking about still having nightmares. So obviously you're not fully cured of everything. Like you're not stress free, in your life,
No, but you got to put on a good front. Like, yeah, most of the time I'm good though, bro. Honestly, like I try to stay happy like this. I mean, every once in a while I get caught up, and sometimes I'll get caught and distracted for like a day or two with anger, and then I'm like, oh man, I've been angry this whole time. But with meditation, it's hard to not get angry, and you notice it. So do I want to continue being angry? Sometimes I do, and I'll consciously be angry.
Yeah.
I'll stop.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And what you were speaking about before too is something I would say, like, if there's anything that has stuck with me since doing ayahuasca, it has been that idea of like when spiraling in something, whether it's spiraling in bad habits or emotions or whatever, I'll bring it back quicker now. Like I don't let myself go, weeks of smoking pot and playing video games and not doing any of the work that I know I have to do and like stuff that I used to do. Now I don't let it get that bad. Now I'll go like a day without doing it and I'll be like, all right, motherfucker, you got to get back on the right track. You got to get back going on this. Like, So that has stuck with me a bit, and I haven't drifted as much as I had. And that was one of the reasons I did go there. Like that was one of the things I wanted help with. Like I went there under the sort of a similar impression of like, kind of like how you wanted to go to war almost. Like I wanted to go to have like a crazy, hard, difficult fucking experience so I could be stronger when I came home. Like I didn't want to go there just to like fuck off and have a cool little fun experience. I wanted to go do something difficult and come back better for it. You know, that was, and I think, I mean, it didn't really come the way I expected it to, but in the end, it did work. It's interesting. It's
I know,
funny.
it's interesting, right? Ram Dass talks about it where instead of being like looking at your life, it's more like it's unfolding. Mm-hmm. So then as I look back, it's almost like, because there were certain points in the military where I should have totally been court-martialed, right? Mm-hmm. And fired, but for some reason I didn't. Right? It just worked out. I don't know how, but it's like, I should have been fired so many times way before I got even, we're 10 years in, you know?
Right.
Just from doing dumb stuff. Like I'll tell you, the most important thing I did in Iraq is a funny story. And I liberated a swimming pool, right? So imagine like we have in America, the West Point, but every country has like a military academy where you send your military people. Mm-hmm. So Saddam had one of those, and it's called Iraqi Family Village. That's what it's called with the people there. So imagine you live in your city, and a city opens up, like a military installation opens up right next to where the Americans are, like right next to it, bro. Like 20 feet away is our area from the main FOB Liberty in Iraq. Like we're right there. That's why I was like, this is lame. What? But anyway, so there's a bad guy there. He takes over the swimming pool, and he's not paying rent, mind you. He doesn't own this. And then he starts subletting parts of the property off for the Iraqis, which made me mad because he was charging $1 to go to this pool. So every day I'm writing in my reports, this dude's charging $1 for the pool, charging $1 for the pool, charging $1 because I'm sick of it, right? I don't want to be here. This is a total waste of my talents. That's what I'm thinking. This is a waste of my talent. So if I'm going to be here, I'm going to do whatever I want. So I'm getting this because the kids, I always love kids. So, and it was nice to have them around to remind you of, oh yeah, we got humanity here, sure, right? That's that shit there. So I had two of them, and they were like my go-to guys. Like every day they knew we were coming out and they hung out with us. I tried to adopt one of them, right? Really? That's how naive I was, bro. I was like, I'm not doing any good. I called my wife. I'm like, hey, listen, just Muhammad, if he comes on a plane, just deal with it. He's cool. He was like 12 years old. I asked his parents. Wow. Hopefully the interpreter, now that I think back, hopefully the interpreter did not say, okay, can I take your kid to America? I'm going to raise him. I'm going to educate him. I'm going to send him back to Iraq to make your country better. Like, hopefully he didn't say that shit, right? Hopefully he just made something up. But, so the pool is being charged $1. I'm complaining every day. Finally, the colonel and this dude meet, and the deal they reach is they're going to charge 50 cents for the pool, and we're going to pay to get the cleaners and all the supplies and all that stuff. And I was like, that's not a good fucking deal. Like, it needs to be $0.25 because that's my pool, right? That's my pool. Because at any time I can take him and leave, run him out of here, right? And, so that I'm like, whatever, 50 cents. And every time he would drain the pool, he would fill it up, an Olympic-sized pool, marble ceiling, like in like Saddam Palace pool. Wow. And it would take all the water pressure from the city so no one could have any water.
Fuck off. Oh, man.
So one day, like this is where the minute I sat down, the wheels were coming off the bus because the war experience that I expected was not what I was getting. And so I was going to get it one way or another. So one day I'd had enough, and I asked my two little buddies, Little Jammer and Mohammed, I'm like, hey, here's $1, go to the pool. And if it's not $1, if it's not, you can't get in, come back and tell me. So boom, off they go. They come running back like 15 minutes later. I'm like, where's my $1? They're like, he took it. I'm like, what? Like, and he kicked him in the ass, right? In Iraq, you don't hit people with shoes. That's why that Iraqi threw the shoe at President. But that's a huge insult. And you don't like, those people know who I am. Like, they know that I'm there and I don't jack with them and I'm cool with their kids. So they know who I am. It's just like I'm in America with my kids, you know. I just treat them just like I ran that little neighborhood. It was cool, you know. But so I was pissed. I lost my mind. I was like, listen, get every kid who wants to swim and get them here now. And there's probably, I don't know, 40,000 people living in this area. Wow. Get them here in 45 minutes and boosh, they're just gone, right? And so my platoon sergeant doesn't know what's going on because he's in the back of the formation. We're just sitting there like we always do, waiting to get blown up, right? Or shot at. Ridiculous stuff. But all of a sudden, these kids come back and there's a gate. They just start coming, right? They're just piling in. And there might have been like there's at least 100. It might have been like 500. I don't know how many kids, at least 100. And they're piling around me because I haven't had my General Patton moment, bro. Like,
You're
we're on the Humvee and I'm yelling, we're going here and some of you aren't coming back and we're going to do that. So all these kids, and it's getting loud. And my platoon sergeant's like, what the heck is going on? And I'm on the Humvee, right? Yelling and some of them can speak English, some of them can't. I'm like, we're going to the pool. Ah! I'm like, who wants to swim? And they're like, ah! And I'm like, let's go. And so the Red Sea parts and me and like 3 or 4 of my soldiers start walking, the kids falling behind us, and then the Humvee start rolling. And my platoon sergeant was like, oh my God.
holy shit.
And we come rolling at the pool. And me, I'm naive because I'm so stressed, right? I'm just tunnel vision. I don't realize we're making a shitload of noise. Like this is a whole like battalion-sized formation on this pool because I see the guy drive away in his car and I'm like, oh, you motherfucker, don't you know you're supposed to stay there? This is my moment, right?
He takes off.
Yeah, bullshit, dude. So he leaves his kid there. This kid's this big fat dude. And I'm huge, right? I'm 252 pounds at this time, body armor. And I'm like, how much is the pool? And he's like, and I'm all, it's fucking free. And I just throw his ass out. Everybody in, right? And like locusts. And inside the pool, there was like a bazaar that this dude was taking with the money we give him, buying all these snacks, but only his little entourage, right? The kids devour that. They jump in the pool. Great day. But then this is where I almost should have been like court-martialed, right? Little Jammer, this little dude, Iraqi, he lived in a semi-truck trailer, like literally. It was a fucking semi-truck trailer. Shredded, could run like, chase our Humvees down, do backflips. Should be a professional athlete if he had like vitamins and shit in America, right?
Yeah.
So Little Jammer, this pool has huge arches that stop, and then there's like an open area. So the pool, you can see the sun. It's phenomenal. And all of a sudden out of this corner, but they're like 40 feet in the air and they stop about 10 feet before the pool. So if you're jumping, there's an angle to make it, right? On the corner of my eye, I see Little Jammer running and I'm like, why is he like, nobody should running up there. So I'm shocked to see somebody running on one of the arches. I'm like, what is he going to do? And all of a sudden you just see him jump, gainer. I'm like, oh, God, he's going to die. What? That's it. I'm only in here a year, right? People are getting their careers ruined for having soldiers misfire their weapons. And I'm like, this kid's going to splat. Everybody hit the pool. And I was like, like he's my kid, right? I'm like, don't ever do that again. Then I was like, we got to go. Let's go. And the best part about the story is it didn't dawn on me that my soldiers, because I went back and I wrote my report. I didn't include any of that shit, right? It just didn't dawn on me that the first thing I would do as a soldier didn't dawn on me because I didn't put myself in their shoes. I would have ran back and been like, you got to see this crazy shit. He's out of his fucking mind. Like, oh my God. Because then like within a few days, all of a sudden, one of my NCOs comes and knocks on my door. He's like, sir, this is bullshit. Don't hate me. You're getting transferred, right? And I'm like, getting transferred?
You got transferred right after?
I never dawned on me, bro, till I was talking to you guys in Peru. And I'm like, oh my God. They transferred me out of there. That's why, because no one told me. They didn't come down and say, hey, we're getting ready to move you. Get your stuff ready. It was like, you're not going on patrol today. You're out. I was like, oh, well,
that's good. That's a good case scenario, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was the best thing I did in Iraq, bro. We liberated that pool.
Give it to the children.
Because at least for that one day, they didn't have to worry about like tanks and explosions and shit. They just got to be kids.
That sounds awesome. I want to see that pool. It sounds fucking amazing.
Yeah, you can. I bet you can see it on Google Maps if it's on there.
What do you look up or whatever? What's it called?
I'll try to look it up because it was his West Point. Like that's what was crazy is like the people that were living, they took over those buildings, so they still had their houses that they were renting out. Like this was just individual people. They would just build stuff. They would take over everything. It was crazy. I mean, I don't blame them. It's their fucking country. I didn't give a shit. That's why when people were like, you got to stop people from building houses in here. I'm like, no, I don't have to do any of that, right? This isn't my country. I'm not going on CNN getting involved in this shit. I'm like, they can do whatever they want. Just as long as no one shoots at me, I don't care. I'll sit here all day.
Right.
Yeah. So like that's the thing. Like soldiers, you hear the bad ones. Those are the guys because we actively get them. Like for the majority of the dudes are like me that even though they're going to make up whatever code they want. So ours was, we're not shooting kids. We're not shooting buildings. Like we got shot at a couple of times and my soldiers wanted to run down the alley. Like the third that was a scared. And I'm like, you want to run down an alley? What do you think they're going to do? Like, you realize how big I am? I'm walking around without a weapon, right? Because I want people to shoot at me so we can go get them and I can get a shiny thing from my uniform. I'm like, do you realize how much balls you have to shoot at me? Like, they want us to go down there, you idiots. It's an ambush. Like, what are you doing? Like, sit back. Like, calm the fuck down. We don't need to turn these people who like us into our enemies. So, because they live there, they know we protect them. And so,
and you're obviously a smart guy, and you are conscious of what you're doing and whatever. And you're in like the leadership position, and a lot of like when you hear about a lot of these guys going off doing this goofy shit and abusing people and whatnot, probably they're lower on the totem pole. Like you're not gonna be promoted to like these leadership roles in the army if you're.
No, it doesn't matter, bro. It doesn't matter. If it just comes from fear. Like I can see where those guys like. If you took it personally, like those Iraqis were trying to kill you, then yeah, I would be pissed and I may cross the line. But the way I came to that idea is listening to POW stories. I read a bunch of books on POWs, and you had the POWs that forgave their captors and those that didn't, and those that didn't were still POWs. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll just stay neutral. I didn't like killing people, but I wasn't against it. You just stay neutral. And
that's funny. That forgiveness thing comes back.
I know, right? Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you're there. That's it for everybody. Yourself. Everyone. That's what like with Paris just happened, bro. Like,
yeah, that's crazy. I don't know that much about it. I didn't really look into. I've been working since it's been happening. So
yeah, I don't know anything either. I just hope people grieve before we start mobilizing people. Right?
I know. Yeah, it's so the whole thing. It's so sad, and that's the like that kind of stuff too. That is where the power of these really comes into play. Is like you can look at something like that and get angry at. I mean, you can get angry at whatever the hell you want. You can get angry at the people who did it. You can get angry, like, what is it? I think maybe you posted this where someone posted where Trump, Donald Trump gets on and says that the people of Paris just needed weapons. And if they had weapons, then, they would have been much better off or something like that. But
yeah, that wasn't me. Cause I totally agree with that. Like the word, like for those terrorists, like the ISIS dudes, the best target they could use, like just looking at this, like militarily is, if you come to America, like the middle of America, like if something happens in New York, I don't give a fuck. I'm never going to New York. That's not happening anywhere I live, right? But if you come to a mall, like in say in the middle of Utah or Colorado, and shot up a bunch of people, it'd be devastating because then most of America could relate. But if you were to do that where I live, you're gonna get shot. Like 30 guys are not coming where I live because dudes at the mall are gonna have guns and they're gonna shoot them, and it's just gonna be like that's it.
It's not gonna go very far.
No, it's not gonna go like. I would hear the gunshots, right? And I would look and they'd already be dead. And I'd be like, God damn it, I'm not fast enough. Like, next time save some for me, dude. Like Americans don't play. Like
I don't know how I feel about that. Like living in Canada, it's definitely not like that. Like people have guns here for hunting. Like where I live, especially I live up in the Yukon where it's like right beside Alaska. It's like motherfuckers aren't walking around with like you can't carry like handguns. Like no one has a handgun.
It's just education, bro. That's all it is if you really were educated on the guns and realize like how many guns there are, like how many there really are people right now with guns, and there should be way more shootings. But I mean, it's just education. If they got educated and realized how seriously people like me take it, and we put in a lot of our own money and time doing training, and I'm taking it serious because not only do I have to take it serious for me and my family, but the people around me, because I want those other gun owners that are responsible to know that when my family's out there, if I'm not there, it's on them.
I don't know how I feel like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like people having, like you're on that camp where if people have more guns, they'll be more safe. Right?
No, not more guns, just one. I just need one, bro.
If you have a gun, like, but walking around with a gun, I mean, like, doesn't that make you fucking nervous to like walk around a mall knowing like everyone's got a gun, or not everybody, half the people there have a gun in their pocket?
No, because
and then if you have that moment of anger, someone gets just pissed off, it's much easier to then kill someone if by mistake or something.
Like that's exactly the scenario they paint, and that should be happening all the time. Like think about all the think how much guns are in America, and then think about how shitty people interact with each other, like on the road. And they should be happening everywhere, but they don't.
Right.
Because if you carry a gun, like say jujitsu, right? Once you do jujitsu and you see Ronda Rousey and what a female can do to you, or Holly Holm, like you realize anyone can do that to you. So once you realize, oh, I have a gun, I got to mind my P's and Q's. I don't have a gun. And so other people do. It's more, that's my more polite.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
it's
two,
interesting. I mean, I definitely don't think like when it comes to like school shootings and these it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with who like if they have access to guns or not. Like you can find a way to kill people if you really want to kill people. People are gonna do it. Like you can. We all have vehicles. Like we can go mow people down. Like it's not like it's like a mental health problem at the end of the day. Like these people are. I think people who go that far to get to this level where they want to go out and kill people, just murder people. They're at a really like I can, like I think it was Aubrey Marcus, or I've heard say this is like the correct response to this kind of stuff is pity, like for the people, not just the victims, but the people shooting. It's like to be in that mental condition where you feel justified in whatever delusional way you have going on in your head that you need to go kill people. It's like it makes me feel sad for that person, to be at that level. It's like even talking about like pedophiles or something, like it's fucking sad that like that's what you need to do to feel good about yourself or whatever, to be sexual with children is such a weird, goofy thing. I just feel bad that you're like at that level, like for people to take these extremes. And I don't know how, but I do feel like some of these things like ayahuasca and these kind of things are eventually going to help these broader problems, because people are going to get this healing, you can call it, individually, and then spread that, right? I mean, it seems like how are you going to help other people if you're not helping yourself? So first people have to help themselves, figure their own shit out, and then we can spread it and spread the love. It seems like that's how it's going to work.
Dude, that's it, bro. Do you know who Ram Dass is?
Oh yeah, I know who he is. Yeah, I'm not like super into him, but I've heard his quotes all the time and whatnot.
You just nailed it, bro. That was it. That's exactly what you got to do.
Is that what Ram Dass talks about too?
Yeah, work on yourself. That's what I was like, oh my God, how can I go save the world and make it more peaceful when I'm going out with the violent intentions, right? I'm going to make you be. That doesn't know how it works. So now, that's what I do to try to work on.
To me, I visualize that with the gun thing too. It's like, if like we want the world to be loving and peaceful, in my mind, it doesn't equal everyone has a gun. Like that seems like goofy as fuck. Have it like everyone has a gun. That makes me feel so nervous. People make bad decisions and you give them dangerous tools all the time.
Think about it. All the mass shootings. Like I'm not talking about the gang violence where dudes are spraying houses being ridiculous, right? We're talking, them all because they don't happen that often.
Yeah. It's true. And I mean, you do hear like the scariest shit to me is like the guy, like you said, if they do it, something you can relate to. And for me, it was like when people shot up in like a movie theater, like it was during Batman, the one I remember, during some Batman movie, some guy killed a bunch of people in a dark theater. And that's fucking scary. It's because you're stuck in your seat. You have nowhere to go. That's brutal. So, I mean, in that situation, it's like, yeah, if someone whips out a gun and just shoots that guy before he kills 10 people, I can kind of see that argued, but.
No, bro, you can die during anything. Like, think about the they have boardwalks in California. Old people fall asleep and mow down 12 people whenever they want. Like there's no defense for anything. Like if someone wants to kill you, they're going to kill you. There's no defense for it. So we're just like pretending. Cause I mean,
for sure. Just being afraid. You can't let that.
That's what it is, bro.
Afraid of everything.
What is it? Like all the dudes who are always doing the shooting, the dudes with all the guns are always the ones that are most afraid. That's what blew my mind.
Right. Like, that's what you were saying. Yeah. In those groups, the people who are scared, they'd be the first ones to go, oh, we got to go shoot those people or whatever.
Yeah. Like at Kent State, right? A bunch of unarmed college people. And you're like, they were the National Guard dudes are like, they're throwing whatever those smoke bombs that are tear gas. It's like, where did they get the tear gas? Oh yeah, you shot at them, dummies. Maybe if you would have sat there. Right, let them peacefully assemble like we're supposed to be able to here. Then none of that would have escalated. But people get like they think peacefully assemble has like a time limit on it. Like you only can protest for 10 minutes, and now I'm sick of it. Now I got to go home to work.
Yeah, it's funny that they're like creating laws too in different states. I know that against protesting and whatnot, like having these weird limitations on it, like you can like just control how people protest. Like, yo, you can only protest from 9 till 5, then you have to go home and like
free speech zones. Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah. So I mean, just to wrap this up, and this has been awesome, by the way. Thanks so much for talking to me today. This has been
I love seeing you, bro.
Yeah, it's been great seeing you again and hearing all your fucking crazy stories again too. I mean, so to like wrap it up, like, is there anything when it comes to ayahuasca specifically, if people are hearing this and maybe they're in your situation that you were in years ago, I mean, do you recommend people go down to Peru and do it that way? Or maybe, you recommend people try marijuana or something first?
Yeah, don't be like me, right? Just step 20, skip all the steps. Don't go right to it. Yeah. I wish it was in America. Like instead of these Christian churches,
I
we
mean, it
need.
is in places. I mean, it's there like underground too.
Oh
It's
yeah.
out
See, that's
there.
the thing, bro. I look like a cop, right? No one's at least like, no one's gonna believe me, right? I don't know any of the lingo because I've been so straight. No one's gonna help me. So that's why I didn't know. Plus, I wanted to go somewhere. I didn't care about money or how much it cost. I wanted to get better. So I wanted to go somewhere where someone I trusted. I trusted.
And that's how I ended up there too. Is like I wanted to make, if I was going to do it, I wanted to do it with someone who knew what the fuck they were doing, who had, and I'd listened to Aubrey's podcast and I really respected him and trusted his opinion. So when he recommended that place, that's how I ended up going there, because I wanted to make sure if I was going to do it, I was going to do it right with someone who knew what the fuck they were doing.
Hell yeah! If you hear the word ayahuasca, it's time to go. Right? It's time. Because I never heard it until I listened to Joe Rogan's podcast. So I never even heard of really psychedelics. Right. Maybe acid, LSD. Maybe somebody mentioned those.
It wasn't on your radar like whatsoever though.
Bro, I didn't see any beer. Imagine grown-ups. Like it's so weird.
You're a Mormon too, so that's like a whole nother level.
Yeah, no alcohol. I never saw alcohol until I was like a senior in high school, dude. Fuck. None of my friends' family. It blows my mind when I go to like army people's houses and they have kids and I'm like, oh my God, this is what normal life is. Like you have a shelf with alcohol on it. I never saw one of those growing up ever.
Right. And I mean, to like emphasize too, there's danger, like clearly like telling your story. It's a good example because like you did kind of almost die like during ayahuasca. Like you were in fucking, like I remember seeing you afterward and you had lost a ton of weight. Like you lost a lot of water weight obviously, and you were just like, you're already ripped when you got there, but you're like just completely like drawn out,
it's shredded. Like a huge weight cut, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like a 40-pound weight cut.
Yeah,
that's how I knew I was dying, is because I realized, oh my God, I'm not retaining anything. Like I can go a day without drinking water probably, no problems, but it's like, oh, this isn't going to work because nothing's getting down. So,
and so like when people want to go, like they got to be careful too. Like luckily there were some people there who knew, who helped you in different ways. Terry was there. We had a doctor on site and everything. It was kind of lucky. Like,
oh yeah. Plus that place has a whole like procedural. They would implement it. I'm pretty sure if I wasn't better that day, then
you might have been getting shipped out or something on a boat out of there or something.
I know, right?
Yeah. So people do have to be careful. Like there's different people are going to respond different physically too, and respond to things differently. So
yeah, and I respected it. So when they sent me the information on the diet, you have to follow. I followed it like 99.99%. Like when I was about to puke, I was thinking about, oh my gosh, I had a taco. Oh my God, black powder on it. Oh my God, right? Oh my God. But no, I respected it. And it worked out perfect. Like it worked out exactly. Like if I could have like envisioned it beforehand, I would have wanted it to happen exactly like that, because anything less than me experiencing that moment of death, like if I can overcome it or not, would have been a waste for me. So that was what I needed. And it delivered like for me. It was great.
So say people want to get in touch with you. Obviously, you've got the 101 holsters behind you there. That's your company. Oh, and by the way, I've got this still. This is the wallet that I actually currently use. You made me this for Christmas, I think. You sent it to me for Christmas.
Yeah. If
these things are awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, John has, you make holsters, obviously got 101 holsters. You make mostly holsters for guns, but you make little wallets too, which are pretty cool.
Yeah. If anyone that was down there with us, they got to email me because I'll send those out. Because there's a company that I work with that prints it on there. And so Lewis, who we were down there with, he did the design, made it super awesome. Right. And sent it to me. And then I had them printed out and then I just made the rest.
Yeah. What is it? Like that's like the Jaguar symbol, right? I think that's what it is. That they had. It was all over the ayahuasca place in Peru. It's like a really meaningful symbol to the people down there.
Yes. That's why I was afraid, because every time Aubrey Marcus talked about his stuff, it was a jaguar eating him.
Yeah, right. You always hear about like snakes and fucking shit.
I was like, no, please don't give me that. Like I can handle puking in this other physical realm. Don't make snakes eat me. I'm not down with that.
Yeah, I didn't encounter any of that either. So it's definitely not going to happen to everyone.
Yeah, but if you're a soldier and you want to get a hold of me, because I can't tell you don't do pills, right? But I'm not taking those goddamn, because I had a soldier who like really went through the problems, and so then they put him on medication. He was a fucking zombie. He showed up to PT and it scared me. Like, what did they do to him? Because he was just like, I can't even make the face. He was just like, and he was like, his supervisor's like, it's okay, it's the meds. And I was like, what do you mean it's the meds?
Yeah,
like,
what meds?
They're just testing it out. I'm like, what do you mean they're just testing? They don't know what they're doing.
Jesus.
Like, they have no idea about the effects. I was like, oh my God, I'm in the crazy land. I got to get the fuck out of this place. But I had a contract still. So that was like, I had a contract. But anyways, yeah, if you're a soldier and you want some help and if you have questions, you can email me.
That's cool.
GauntTraining@gmail.com. I'll help you out.
What was that at Gmail?
Oh, Gaunt Training, like Gaunt
Training.
Yeah. But if you go to my website, you can't order any holsters, right? But you can hit us up. Yeah.
What do you mean you can't order any holsters?
Well, my business model changed, right? So one of the things I did is I heard this concept a long time ago. Is the richest man in the world isn't he who has the most, it's he who needs the least. And then I was like, why did I just retire from the military for a super stressful job to just start doing the same thing over again? So it's like, there's only a certain amount of orders we do a month. And they're always filled up. So
okay, so you're not just trying to like continually expand and sell more and more and more and more. You've sort of limited your business model a little bit.
Yeah, I shrunk everything down. My F-150 gone. My wife's car gone. We bought it on feed. We're simplifying and making it like as efficient as possible.
Cool.
And then super less stressful. Better for me. If it's better for me, it's better for everyone else.
And you've got a podcast too. So what's the name of your podcast? Kydex
Wars, yeah.
Right, and Kydex is like the stuff you make the holsters out of. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's like the plastic. It's a type of plastic that some scientists developed and named it Kydex, and they use in airplane seats. It's just super pliable when you get heated up, and it forms to everything.
Super lightweight. Like this wallet, I love this thing. It's awesome because it's just lightweight. It's super thin. Like you make all the holsters real thin too.
Yep.
If people are into that. And yeah, check out the podcast. I only listened to your latest episode where if people want to know like the full details of the ayahuasca experience, it was really cool. Actually, you told it really well. You had some funny moments in it too. Like I remember the funniest part was when you were describing getting off the bus when we was getting off the bus or just like when we first met Howard and he was just like hugging everyone. And I remember I felt this exact same way where I was like, oh fuck, he knows everyone. People have been here before. Like he knows all these people and he was calling them by name and stuff. I was like, oh fuck, what if he doesn't know my name? Or like
That's hilarious, bro, because we were feeling that's the thing that helps when you share your stories because you were feeling the same way I did. If we told each other, we would have laughed about it. You know, it's cool.
Yeah, it was really impressive actually. Like there were like 30 people on that bus and Howard knew every single person's name when they got off. It was pretty amazing actually.
That's a good point too, huh? How did he know her?
Yeah, I was like, how the fuck does he?
How did he put pieces to it? Yeah, that's weird.
He must have studied up, man. He comes prepared.
I know. I wonder where he got a picture. Because we didn't submit pictures to him.
I don't think so. Like maybe I sent him a photocopy of the passport or something. I was wondering about that. Like, I was trying to figure that out. Like how he.
Oh, that's what it is. It's a passport. That's what we did.
Maybe.
He
might just be psychic. I mean, he is a shaman. You never know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at those emails I sent him, bro, because that's creepy. That's not creepy. That's like crazy.
Yeah,
Jay, he called me by my first name, and it didn't even dawn on me because I was so scared. Like, because that should have sent off shockwaves. Like, are you in the CIA? You're gonna fucking kidnap me? Right.
Yeah, no, you told that story really well with that, like the whole 4 experiences you had there. Like, it was pretty amazing. So I definitely recommend people check that out. It's pretty cool.
But it's interesting, bro. Like, just like don't listen to it if you're not into guns and shit. But it's interesting as you listen to the podcast. If you see the dates, like, so when I got admitted to the hospital, like in April, you just see the the episodes leading up to it. It's almost like, oh my God, that's like a huge wave. You can just see the bus going towards the cliff. It's just coming in these podcasts as I'm just ranting about nothing there, you know?
Oh, so you started, when did you start the podcast? You've been doing it a long time.
Yeah, there was a holster company called Raven Concealment Systems. And they made $5 million doing the same thing I did in my basement, right? They had a bigger scale. And they talked shit on me one day. And I was like, yeah, but I mean, granted, it launched my company, right? Because no one knew who I was. Because imagine like Coca-Cola saying, "Hey, girl on the lemonade stand, you suck." And all of a sudden, everyone's going to look at the lemonade stand.
Right. And all press is good press, right?
Yeah. And so I was just sick of them doing that to other people. I didn't see anybody standing up to them. So the podcast.
So that was the first podcast. Was like, "Hey, fuck you."
Yeah. It was like, "Yo, motherfuckers, this is who I am, right? I'm I'm a fucking army, whatever, and I got all this. So go fuck yourself.
I gotta listen to
That's
that.
what it was. You know, and all of a sudden I got all these emails because they've been doing it to everybody. Because instead of just saying, "Hey, our product's the best, let's let it alone," because I was in the beginning of my holsters, they weren't even that good. They should have just shut up. I probably would have went out of business. But that's another thing. It comes in my life, and then without that, bro, we probably would have never met.
Totally, yeah. It's fate. Yeah. All right, well, cool, man. Thanks for talking to me. I hope people check out all of the stuff you have going on, and yeah. That's about all I got for you. Anything last minute you want to mention before we go?
No, bro. Awesome to see you again.